Hey everybody, John Reardon here for Nintendo World Report TV, and if you are watching this episode on Wednesday, the 25th of February 2015, then I want you to take a moment to consider that last night at 11:30 p.m. is right now when I'm filming this episode. I mean, we're so short on time producing this episode that this intro is completely improvised. I mean, look, this is the script. There's nothing on it. I don't even know why I have this piece of paper because it's so wildly useless. So next time you're thinking to yourself, boy, nobody loves me, just remember that Neil Ronahan and John Reardon put Know Your Developers together every single week because we care about you. Anyway, EAD Group 4. Now before we get too deep in, I did want to highlight one person. Takashi Tezuka. He's one of the general producers of all EAD, but I thought now would be a good time to talk about him, and you may already be familiar with his name. Tezuka, starting with Devil World and Super Mario Bros., was Miyamoto's partner in crime. Later on, the pair went on to create Super Mario Bros. 2, or as we know it, The Lost Levels. They also worked on The Legend of Zelda, Super Mario Bros. 3, Super Mario World, Yoshi's Island, and Super Mario 64. Essentially, Miyamoto and Tezuka were the minds behind pretty much every groundbreaking Nintendo game for close to 15 years. Additionally, Tezuka directed The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. The fact that I list The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past as additionally should point out to you just how incredible this guy's resume really is. After Super Mario 64, Tezuka settled into a producer role. Outside of a few dabblings in the original Animal Crossing, The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker, and Pikmin 2, he's primarily worked with Mario and Yoshi, having a hand in nearly every 2D Mario and Yoshi game since the mid-90s. Currently, Tezuka is working with other developers at EAD Group 4 on Mario Maker, and the team at Goodfeel on Yoshi's Woolly World. Now then, onto the staff of EAD 4. Hiroyuki Kimura is the current head of EAD Group 4, having cut his teeth on Super Mario Bros. 3 as a character designer. He rose through the ranks quickly, as his next project was as director of Metroid 2 on the Game Boy. His work on Metroid 2 led to him contributing some graphic design to Super Metroid, while he worked as a director on a launch game for a Nintendo system. Unfortunately, that system was the Virtual Boy. But Kimura's work, Mario Clash, was one of the bright spots of the system. From there, he would continue working on games that few people actually ever played, by working on Mario Artist Talent Studio for the 64 disk drive. The next few projects he worked on predicted his future as the producer of the new Super Mario Bros. Series, as he directed all 4 Super Mario Advance games. His last credited directorial role was on Yoshi Touch and Go, which he worked on with Takashi Tezuka. Following the release of Yoshi Touch and Go, Kimura became the head of EAD Group 4, where he has overseen every 2D Mario and Pikmin game for the past decade. Shigefumi Hino is a name that you might not recognize off the top of your head, but I bet you're familiar with the character he created in his first ever game. Hino created Yoshi in 1990 while working as a character designer on Super Mario World. Hino also designed characters in Link's Awakening. After that, he worked under Miyamoto and Tezuka as a high-ranking developer on Yoshi's Island, and then proceeded to exist mostly as a graphic artist during the N64 era, working on Mario Kart 64, Yoshi Story, and the Pokemon Stadium games. On GameCube, he took up the director's chair for Pikmin and Pikmin 2. Following Pikmin 2, he helped out with New Super Mario Bros. And Big Brain Academy, likely waiting for another Pikmin game to be greenlit. One was, but it was the Wii port of Pikmin 1 and 2. Fortunately for us all, those 2 games would lead to the production of Pikmin 3, allowing Hino to direct another original game after a nearly 10-year break. It's been a year and a half since Pikmin 3 wrapped. We can only hope Hino's working on a new Pikmin game for Wii U or 3DS. Or maybe he's working on creating a new world. After all, this is the man responsible for Yoshi, characters from Link's Awakening, and large chunks of the world of Pikmin. Masataka Takemoto's first work with Nintendo was as a graphic artist on Yoshi's Touch and Go in 2005, and New Super Mario Bros. In 2006. He took his graphical talents to the Wii a few years later with New Super Mario Bros. Wii. From there, Takemoto went from graphic artist to director, leading the design of New Super Mario Bros. U and New Super Luigi U. If Nintendo's working on another 2D Mario, Takemoto's likely been working on it since 2013. After all, he's spent most of his 10 years at Nintendo working on the new Super Mario Bros. Series. Yosuke Oshino started at Nintendo in 2008, helping out on the Wii ports of Pikmin 1 and 2, as well as New Super Mario Bros. Wii. After the latter game wrapped, Oshino bounced around to a few different groups, helping out with the 3DS launch title Nintendogs Plus Cats, the Wii masterpiece The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, and the marquee 3DS game Mario Kart 7. It wasn't until the development of Pikmin 3 that Oshino came back to EAD Group 4 for hopefully good. After assisting with Pikmin 3, Oshino went on to work under Tezuka as the director on Mario Maker, which is due out later in 2015. The first year of Shigeyuki Asuke's time at Nintendo was spent furiously debugging GameCube launch titles. He must have squashed a lot of bugs in Pikmin and Luigi's Mansion, because his next credit after that was a major role on Yoshi's Touch and Go, and then a directorial gig working on New Super Mario Bros. After helping out with Big Brain Academy Wii degree, Asuke went on to direct New Super Mario Bros. Wii, before falling back into assistant game designer roles on Skyward Sword, New Super Mario Bros. U, and New Super Luigi U. He's been publicly dormant since New Super Luigi U, but it's likely that he's working under Oshino on Mario Maker, or potentially working with Takemoto on a new Mario game. Either that, or he's working on his own Splatoon-like project hoping to get the kind of support those young directors got. It's weird to say that someone who's been at Nintendo since 1999 is a rising star, but Yuji Kondo seems to fit the mold. He's worked as a programmer on a number of titles, including every single Pikmin game. However, his most recent role was as a co-director on Pikmin 3 with Hino. We don't really know what Kondo's working on next, but it's possible that he's being groomed as the future director of the Pikmin series, allowing Hino to move on to something entirely new. Thank you guys very much for watching this episode of Know Your Developers. If you haven't seen the first 3, then I will put a playlist for them right up here in this corner. This episode was, normally I'd say co-written, but in this case, this episode was pretty much entirely written by Neil Ronahan, who you can watch almost every week, right over here on Nintendo News Report, where they go through the latest happenings in the world of Nintendo. If you need more of my face in your life, I did just finish a series called Nintendo's Gamepads. Put a link to that playlist right here. It's a 4-part series that goes through the history of Nintendo's controllers, sees how they were influenced by gaming at the time, sees how they influenced gaming of the future. Pretty much points out why Nintendo is the best and everybody else can just suck it. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to Nintendo World Report TV for tons of awesome Nintendo coverage from me and several other talented people. It's a good time. It's like a little hub of Nintendo loving that you gotta join in on. That sounded weird. Can we cut that? You can also check out NintendoWorldReport.com for even more Nintendo coverage if you didn't get enough just in the links that I just gave you. I know I might be overwhelming you, but you're a strong person and I think you can take it. I believe in you.